Thanks for checking out today's video. We are going to be going over how to make this Husqvarna TC50 quit running as hot and solve some of the overheating issues my daughter's been having. After doing some research and talking to one of our local shops, very well trusted mechanic out there informed me that you can just drop in the KTM or Husqvarna 65 water pump impeller straight into this 50's bike. Cover, everything all fits and clears just fine. It really is just that little $6–7 part you can pick up at the dealership, and it's plug and play, simple bolt on, you're good to go. Totally makes sense to me that this should solve our overheating issues because my daughter is new to this bike, and when we get into technical terrain she's riding it a little slower. We don't have the revs up as high, and so we're not moving as much water through it. You'll see later in this video when you have the two impellers side by side, it's a drastic difference of how much water you're going to be able to move with this 65 impeller. So let's just jump into it and show you how you get this swapped out. Here are the two impellers I'm talking about for this Husqvarna TC50. This also applies to the SX50. So on my left here, this is the stock impeller. So as you can see, we got really small fins. It's not going to move a lot of coolant. This one on my right, this is the stock KTM 65 impeller. Much taller fins. Same design as a lot of the bikes. Keyed everything just like you would expect. And it will drop straight in and work on the 50. This is what you see a lot of those aftermarket metal billet aluminum ones modeled after. But you can pick this guy up at your dealership for about $6. That's what I paid for this, $5.99. And I mean, as you can tell, pretty much exactly the same, except much taller. We're going to move a lot more water. So I'm really hoping this fixes the issue for my daughter's bike to where she quits overheating the bike. All right, let's show you how this guy goes in. Okay, to swap out that impeller, we're just going to need to remove the water pump cover, which is going to be here. Just pop off those 4 bolts and it all should come off. Before we do that though, let's go ahead and drain all the coolant, and that should be just that bolt right there, 8mm head on it. I do this just so it makes a whole lot less of a mess. I'm going to drain it into like a metal bowl with a funnel. So let's get to work on that. We're going to go ahead and lean the bike this way, and that's going to just allow for it to flow nicely and hopefully not much of a mess at all. You also want to make sure to remove the radiator cap just to allow it to flow freely. Oh, there we go. You can see it really wants to flow once I loosened up that radiator cap. And I can control the flow just by opening and closing the cap, just so we don't run it over the funnel that I have here. Now I will most likely reuse this coolant because I just changed it out 2 hours ago. thinking that was possibly the issue with my overheating. So probably better. Give that a little bit, get all of it out before we lay it over on its side and pop that cover off. Okay. All right, we got the coolant drained. Let's get these 3 other bolts off. And make this swap. You can see we've already removed our coolant drainage bolt, so we have just these 3 here left. These are all different sized, so my recommendation is, oh, looks like those 2 are the same. Keep them back where you found them, give it a little wiggle, lift up, pull that nice and easy. To remove the impeller, you're going to need to remove that little bolt there, and that's going to be with a 6mm. So you can use a little ratchet here. Now the problem is, because this is directly connected to the motor, because of the way that transmission works, see here, I spin this impeller, you can hear the motor spin, everything's connected. You normally need a little piston stop up there so that piston cannot move. Well, I don't have one. So what I'm going to use is just remove the spark plug, just use a bolt, much smaller than the actual spark plug is because I don't want to damage the threads. I'm going to feed that in there and just hold it with my fingers. And that piston, I can feel the piston push up and touch it, and I can actually just hold it with my hand. And you can see here, I can now spin it and remove this. Again, all I'm doing is just holding that bolt in through there so that something's stopping the piston from wanting to spin. And there we have it. Our impeller is off. Okay, so we really just reverse our steps. Do remember that you have slots here on the side which match up to this, so this is keyed. It will go in there only a certain way. Sits on there nice and snug, just like the old one. Put our screw in here. And I'm going to go ahead and get this started so I don't cross thread anything. When we get this guy on there, as soon as I feel it start biting, I will use my little piston stop bolt I grabbed. Actually, that seems pretty snug. I don't even know if I'll need it. That's me just moving the wheel here to try to find the piston top. Okay. The manual doesn't have the torque specification, so I don't want to go too crazy. I'm going to call that good. That's pretty snug. And then we just set our cover back on. Make sure your gasket's still lined up in there all nice. If any part of it popped out, set it back in so you don't rip it. Trying to put this back on there. And again, I don't have any torque specifications from the book, so we're just going to go nice and evenly smoothed. If you have your fingers calibrated for torquing, try to get these nice and even. Just work it around. Okay, we're good there. I'm going to take my drain, plug that guy back in. And one last check. There we go. Okay, there you have it. That new KTM 65 impeller dropped right into the Husqvarna TC50. Would also work on an SX50, not a problem. Couple things to keep in mind after we put it in. Might get the urge to just go start it up and rip. You're going to want to put that spark plug back in that we had to take out for the piston stop and get the coolant in there. Also might have some air bubbles in the system, so watch for that. Burp the system, give it time to get the air out, and then refill. Hopefully this solves the problem though of little bike overheating on you. Let me know if it worked. I am going to be testing this out here in about a week, so fingers crossed that this solves our slow riding overheating issue. I got the tip though from a very reliable source that knows these bikes incredibly well, so I am very confident this is going to work without a hitch. All right, that's everything I have. If you liked the video, please hit the like, subscribe button for more. Always working on bikes in here, so lots of information on the little and the big bikes.